The debate of who can and who can't use the N-word has been long-standing among the Black community. Some feel that no one should use the word no matter the context, while others feel the word should only be said by Black people. In an interview with Aries Spears, Willie D revealed that he doesn't like being called out of his name and only uses the word in the derogatory sense. This moment opened up discussion between the two surrounding words and the impact they might have. Today we have our company hype analyst, Vanessa Fraction in studio, Capone and Pierre calling in, along with our very special guest, Willie D. And we have to ask, do you agree with the use of the N-word and should it be canceled? But first, let's take a look at this clip.
How come you were so bothered by the N-word?
Because I'm the type of person, I take words literally.
Right.
So, like, if someone was to call me a bitch, I start thinking about what I think of what a bitch is.
Right.
And I don't like really being called out of my name in any kind of capacity, right? Say, for instance, like, you know, sometimes I remember when I used to be in high school, sometimes my homie or somebody might say, "Oh boy, you a fool." And I'm like, "A fool? No, I ain't no fool, man." You know, I know what they think it means, you know, like in their mind, like, "Oh, you're a fool, you know, you tripping, you know, whatever." But in my mind, a fool is somebody who is not careful, you know, somebody who is reckless.
So let me ask you, girl, right? And the pussy is fantastic. And at one point she go, "Ooh, Willie D, nigga." You stop him?
I stop her and choke her out. No, I'm kidding. But you know how women have those key things that what Kevin Hart said, that word, he and his woman have a safe word when they're having sex, and it's a
Right.
safe word. So
Right.
that's one of them things, like I'll be like, that's a turn up, you know, like, yeah, you know, like, oh, don't be telling me that, man, you know.
Right.
I ain't with it.
Now, before we get into that conversation, I do want to make sure that we all welcome Willie D. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, my honor.
We appreciate you being here. Now, I want to dive into that moment. Can you expand or just give us some insight? What led up to that moment when you were talking to Aries Spears about the N-word?
Yeah, so Aries and I, we've had multiple conversations about all type of things, and I believe that what happened is that Aries, he has an affection for the word, and he uses the word like frequently. And when you hear it just over and over, like, damn man, can you use it? Maybe he would have just said it one time, we wouldn't have gotten that piece. But he kept saying it and saying it out, and I just felt the need to just interject.
So what led you up to like the point of like just not liking the word? I know you kind of explained it in the video, but just to get some more insight from you, you know, what made you reach a point of just not liking the word? Because I know you use it in a derogatory way, but when you hear it, what does that do for you?
And just to be clear, I've used the word in the past in many of my records where I even refer to myself as the N-word. But when you know better, you do better. And I want to make that clear, because I'm sure somebody's in the comments right now. You know, I already know how they get out.
Right.
So I just believe in growth, right? I'm a big advocate for growth, and I don't believe that my past defined me. I believe it refined me, and so I feel stumped. I would feel like I wouldn't be making progress as a human being if I was still stuck on the same thing that I was stuck on when I was a teenager, or if I was in my 20s, or even my 30s, or even my 40s. I'm 55 now. So I think like growth, and I'm always willing to learn. And just because I grew up a certain way and doing certain things, I have given myself permission to not be stuck in those ways.
Right.
And so for me, I felt like I was elevating my consciousness by not referring to myself as that word anymore, or people that I love, or people that I care about, or just people in general. Now, when you offend me, if you disrespect me, if I identify you as an enemy, you get what you get.
Right.
Anything I can say to hurt you, I'll say it, including the N-word.
Right. Now, I want to...
Yeah,
and I want to open up the floor to our analysts, because I think, when we all watch it, we have our own thoughts in that. Pierre, I'm going to come to you first. What were your thoughts when you first saw that clip?
Well, I have such respect for both of the guys, and I understand where both of them come from. But I like the insight that Willie just gave. In growth. The word to me is it's up to you. Like, if someone tells me they don't want me to say it, I won't say it out of respect for them. It doesn't mean that I can't say it to other friends who accept that word like it's no biggie. They know what I mean, no negative connotation to it. So if they're cool with it, I'm cool with it. But if a friend of mine, let's say Willie said, don't say that, I know how to hold back from that. Now, that's something that's not normal for me to hold back. So somebody says, well, why don't you hold back for everybody? Well, it's not a normal. I'm doing it for that person. I don't do it for everybody. When my other friends accept that word, that word, you can put it in and say it's the worst word you ever heard. Well, I think it's the ER one, but with the A, it's something different. And I've grew up around it. I've said it. People said it to me. I don't take offense to it. If you're my friend and you're in my circle, I don't have a problem with that. Or if I'm saying it on stage. But do I feel like he said, he said, it's a growth. If you decide, you know what, I don't want to say it no more, let me change it and I stop saying it because I don't feel like it's necessary, then that's fine. But I don't demonize those who say it. I don't demonize my friends who say it.
Right. Capone, I want to bring that same question to you. What were your reactions when you first saw that clip between Willie D and Aries Spears?
I actually, before Willie spoke, I said, damn, Aries using nigga a lot. And I know a lot of brothers that don't like that. I use it, and I use it in a very funny term, because I'm a word person, and I like to change words and make certain words sound funny. So like, even if I'm on stage and I said, man, that girl was bad. And somebody said, how bad was she? I'll be like, nigga, so I try to emphasize comedy with the word, but I also did research on it, and the word came from the slaves, masters that actually were saying it to guys who was not with slavery. They would rather die than be slaves. And they used to say to the other slaves, well, you trying to be like that lazy nigger? That's where it came from. And so actually it was a more powerful word than people think, because it was given to the slaves who did not believe in slavery and would rather die for it. And so at one point I was the same as Willie. I didn't like the word. I wanted to get it out of my vocabulary. But when I found a way to make it funny, I just kept it on stage with just the funniness of it, not to ever disrespect nobody with it.
Right. I'll definitely have to look it up, because I had no idea about that either. Now I want to bring the ball to you, Vanessa. What were your reactions when you first saw the clip?
Oh, just that it's important for people to set boundaries and to let people know like how to address them and what kind of respect they would want.
Right.
I think if you say that, as Pierre said, if I respect you, I'm gonna go ahead and do as you ask. So if you don't want to be called whatever, I'm not going to call you that. And if you let me know how you like to be addressed, I think that's just super important. As far as the N-word in general, I did grow up with it. It still slips out. I do watch myself though. Like even on stage, if I hear myself, letting it pop out, the same as bitch, stuff like that. There's certain words that kind of I'm like, I don't know when you got to doing that, but you really need to pull back from that type of language and that behavior, because truly words do have power.
Well, he said he don't like to be called fool because he's not a fool, and I get that, he doesn't, or crazy or whatever that was. But here's the same terminology. I've heard people call each other king. And trust me, there's some black folks who ain't kings, okay? They don't conduct themselves like king. So should I wait and find out, are you a king? Because I got to know you're a king first. You're not just a king because you're black. That's crazy to say that, because there's some trifling ass dudes out here that aren't kings. To me, they're representing the word king. So if words matter, then I wouldn't call somebody a king off the rip.
Yeah, I think, Pierre, that comes down to personal choice. First and foremost, I want to salute you on what you said about calling people what they are not calling people
Sure.
they don't appreciate.
Right.
Because everybody, some people don't mind, some women don't mind their friends calling them the B word. But if some dude out the streets just call them a B, that would trigger something inside of a woman that you can't imagine.
Right.
So first and foremost, I appreciate you saying that. In regards to the word king, my friends, when we greet each other, we get on the phone and we greet each other. First of all, I understand what you're saying. Technically, people may not be kings because they don't have the crown and they don't have jewels and they don't have a kingdom and all of that type of stuff. But it's something about that word when you answer the phone and your homeboy say, "What's up, king?" as opposed to "What's up, nigga?"
See, sure.
The word king elevates your consciousness, and that's why me and my friends, we all greet each other as in that type of term, like king, and just hearing that word alone, it raises your consciousness as opposed to saying "What's up, nigga?"
True.
And also with that though, Pierre.
Fool part, the fool. I'm sorry, I was just talking about the fool part. When you said fool, you're not a fool. I can say, hey, what's up, fool? How you doing? Not in a negative way. You my boy. What's up, man? You acting like a fool, man. You a fool. Fool with that. I'm not calling you a fool, a stupid individual.
No,
you know what I'm saying? So that's what I was saying about the king. I don't mind calling people king. I'll call them king all day, but I get what you're saying. So I respect that.
Yeah, I know Vanessa wanted to chime in, so I want to give her a moment to chime in.
He had asked, why do you call someone a king if their behavior is not? And sometimes you speak those things that are not until they are. You know what I mean? Same as if you keep calling somebody dumb or stupid. They may not be, but if you keep doing that in their spirit, they may absorb that and be like, damn, am I dumb? Am I stupid? So if you address somebody and say, hey, king, you're powerful. Hey, king, how are you, brother? That kind of thing, that speaks into their spirit. And even though they may not be at this time, they can become that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And honestly, for me, like for my friends as well, Willie, like I've had to have that conversation where I tell my friends, don't call me the B word. I don't call you the B word. And when we talk, I would appreciate if you don't call me the B word either. But it wasn't the easiest conversation to have because it's not a normal conversation. So Willie, I want to ask you, when you were having that conversation with Aries Spears, how did that end for you? Because that's not the typical conversation that you have or that you hear people having between friends or between people. How did that end for you all?
We agree to disagree. Aries is going to use that word. He loves that word. I mean, Aries has a special place in his heart for that. So he's going to continue to use that word, and that's fine. I'll still continue to call him a friend. The thing about friends and family, we don't have to always agree with each other, to love each other, to care for each other, to support each other. We're not all the same, And so, even if one of your friends is associated with a different political party or whatever, we're not all the same. And so, I can respect a friend's opinion, but as long as a person is not out there, like personally doing something that I consider to be, destructive, and some people can say, can argue that that word is destructive, but I see it as one of those things that you can attribute to, to growth. It's one of those things that if he gets it, he gets it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But it's not going to make me feel any different about Aries.
Right, and I think that's a beautiful thing. Now, I do want to ask you another question. So we all know Richard Pryor reached a point in his career where he said, he regretted saying the N-word, and he said moving forward that he wasn't going to use it, in life as he moved forward. For you, Willie, like, one, do you ever regret using, the N-word in your previous music and things like that? And also, have you ever considered just removing it from your vocabulary at all, whether it's derogatory or not?
Yeah. First and foremost, there's many things that I've said in the past that I wish I had not said, or which I had articulated better, within the context of the music. Because, I always operated under the notion that, hey, I'm responsible for what I say, not how you interpret it. But, as you get older, you realize there's certain things and people miss the mark. And so too much is given, much is required. I have a huge platform, have had a huge platform for the last 30 years. I got a lot of people that listen to what I have to say. And so there's a huge responsibility that comes with that. So yeah, I would have said some things differently, but in hindsight also, if I had been that conscious, perhaps I wouldn't have reached as many people as I would have, because I would have been so focused on, well, I can't say that, well, maybe I shouldn't say that, or maybe I should say it like this. So, you know, I'm kind of split on that at times.
No, I completely understand that. So I think that brings us to like our main question. I'll kind of just go around for everybody. You know, do you agree with the use of the N-word, and do you feel that it should be canceled? Vanessa, I'll start with you. Surprised.
I've thought about this for so many years, and the bigger thing is, yes, I'll go with the yes, I do. There's many words in our vocabulary that we can use. There's no reason to have to keep this one around, knowing that it has such damage, knowing that it has such damage and has done so much damage. There are other words that we could choose to use. So on the broader, well, the direct answer is yes. Have I done it? You know, no. Is it still, you know what I mean? It's like, have I done the work? Am I being an example of what I'm feeling on the inside? No, I'm not. So it's always been a kind of.
Yeah, I mean, change takes time as well. Capone, I'll come to you next. What are your thoughts? Do you think, do you agree with the use of the N-word, and should it be canceled?
No. I mean, the way I use it, I don't try to offend anybody. And I mean, they canceling a bunch of words. The LGBT, you can't say the F word to them no more, or, and if that's offensive to some people, like the N word is offensive to, Willie, and to, each individual, as long as I don't think you have the content to actually come and try to hurt somebody with words, because words are very powerful, but there's also this thing called freedom of speech.
No, I completely agree. Well, I think it's
before we digress. Can I address one more thing that was said? Because I don't know if we're going to edit it out, and they didn't play it to its completion. But at the very end of the clip, when they Willie, when he asked you about if a woman that you were pleasing, yelled out the N-word to you, what would you do? Would you stop in the middle of it or what? And you said jokingly, because after you said I would choke her out, you said I'm just playing. But then you did follow up and say, well, I wouldn't choke her out right then, which I don't know if he didn't play all of that, but if somebody were to listen to that clip, they can hear that. I'm a big, I teach self-defense. Unfortunately, I have been, in some domestic violence disputes and things like that. And I think that saying that you would choke a chick out because she addressed you in a way that you didn't want to be addressed, especially if she didn't even know that that's not how you wanted to be addressed, even when you're joking like that, is very triggering. It's very, and you did say a couple times, like, I'm playing, let me quit playing like that. Let me quit playing like that. But that's as bad as calling me a nigga.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because, it's some dudes out there, some people have cognitive dissonance and they only hear what they want to hear. Some dudes want to choke a chick out for real, and they just looking for any kind of excuse to do it. So if they hear me saying it and they don't really get it, they may think that I'm approving some type of behavior like that. But no, I don't rock like that. I'm the cleanup man, and I subscribe to the notion that if you got a beater, you don't need her. So yeah,
But to even joke like that, because y'all was laughing, you know what I mean? And I know sometimes, you know what I mean, we can kind of laugh and volunteer like, quit playing, boy. But as a woman, to see y'all chuckling and laughing about possibly choking a chick because she addressed you wrong, is, you know what I mean? So thank you I'm glad we were able to have that.
But at the same time, though, I think it's important for everybody to understand that, just don't call people names that they don't want to be called. Like, don't do that. Like, it's like we all are responsible for our actions. The person who offends is responsible for their actions. The person who is offended is responsible for their actions, so nobody gets a pass,
Now, I appreciate you for addressing it and being able to have that conversation, because I do think things like this, we need to have that dialogue. So Willie, I appreciate for you, chiming in on that. Now, Willie D, before we let you head out, there is a couple things that I do want to, one, congratulate you on for signing your deal with Saitama.
Yeah, That's it.
I did it. I said it. All right. Congratulations. That's one of the biggest crypto deals that are out there. So congratulations. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I know cryptocurrency right now is huge and especially needs to be opened up to our community. So I would love to open the floor to you in that.
Absolutely. So I signed a deal with Saitama to be their president of NFTs and talent acquisition department. So, I oversee, any type of anything coming in on the NFT side, even with bringing people in to get them involved with Saitama from the cryptocurrency standpoint. So I'm involved in all aspects, pretty much, even though those are my roles, I'm still very much involved in all aspects of like Saitama projects. And so NFTs, for people that don't know, stands for non-fungible tokens, which means that you can't touch it. So anything that can be sold electronically over the internet, pretty much images, video, audio, all of these things can be made into NFTs. And so basically whatever you have, we basically take it and we enhance it. We take your audio, your video, your image, and we enhance it, create incredible art. And then we put it on exchange. People buy, sell, and they trade it. And we're talking like some of these pieces go for like up to, I think the most expensive piece so far has been sold for like $200 million. And these pieces sell on the regular for millions of dollars. So it's a very, very lucrative space.
Right now, I want to ask you this before I let you close out, because I think for some people, like you said, they just aren't able to wrap their minds around it, right? Because there is so much information out there. So are there any resources that you can give for people to start? Because when you say like, throw money at crypto, some people may not know what that means or what that looks like or what platform do I go on to do that. Are there any resources you can provide before we close out?
And if y'all go to my Instagram page, Willie D Live, go to my Instagram and you can click on that link that's in my profile and click that cryptocurrency. And you can learn about crypto right there. You can learn about Saitama. If you want to learn further about other cryptos, you can go on YouTube and just do some research. There's a plethora of videos out there for you. Any question that you have, just type it in and somebody will give you an answer.
Awesome. That's beautiful. Again, congratulations on that. That is amazing. We wish you all the best. I think it's important to have these type of conversations as well, because like you said, our community tends to fall behind in situations like this just because, we don't take the time to take that extra step. So thank you, Willie D, for even opening up to express that. Go ahead.
But I do want to say this. Black people, we do take risk. But what we don't take is financial risk.
Yep.
We will take risks. We will risk our lives. We will risk our health with the food choices. We'll risk our lives with our lifestyle choices. But when it comes to like taking a chance on creating wealth, doing something major to change your, pursuing that goal that might be very lofty, but it's one of those goals. It's probably attainable, but it's lofty, and you haven't really seen anybody do it, and you don't know anybody personally that's done it. So in your mind, perhaps it's unreachable. So you won't take that. A lot of us will not take those chances. Having said that, I am proud of all of the new entrepreneurs that have been springing up lately, in our space. Because I've seen so many new Black entrepreneurs in the last year and a half, since the pandemic. It's been beautiful to watch. So I really do appreciate that, because what they're doing is they are encouraging a whole new generation of entrepreneurs that look like us to go out and do the same thing. And before I leave, I gotta salute Comedy Hype. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. It's not just about jokes, but it's also about the culture. It's about social and political consciousness. What you're doing is absolutely amazing, and it's appreciative.
Well, we thank you, and we appreciate you being a part of the platform. So again, thank you so much for stopping by.
Absolutely.
And as always, Vanessa and Capone, thank you for chiming in as well. You heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. Do you agree with the use of the N-word, and should it be canceled? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Do you know the comedy culture? Play Comedy Hype, the game. Out now.